we are seeing a lot of buzz around it. We are now seeing finally real estate and other forms of real world assets also being tokenized. And I wanted to get your views on it. Do you also see that it is not just hype and there is actually some real use case you see in terms of we trying to tokenize and bringing every asset in the world on chain?
I always think that how the few years ago everyone's saying like blockchain this, blockchain that, right? A lot of it is solution looking for a problem, right? So what's the real benefit of putting real estate on the blockchain, for example, right? Let's take that as an example. Is there like why do we need decentralization for real estate? Let's say you put like a deed of a house on the blockchain and it's decentralized. And if someone's hacks your wallet and steals that deed, does that mean they own the house? No, right? Because the actual source of truth is not the blockchain, right? The actual source of truth is some government ledger, right? The source of truth is not the blockchain, then what's the point, right? What's the point of spending the cost of putting it on the blockchain, right? So you kind of have to step back and think about what's the point of doing this, right? So some things are, decentralization is very important, right? To be like specific, like Litecoin, it's important for decentralization, right? If I have the private key to the wallet, then I own the coins, right? So you have to protect your private key. If someone stole it, then they have access to the coin and they own it. So the blockchain is a source of truth for crypto. I think it's 99% hype and not useful.
Okay. Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Voice of Web3, powered by CoinGape Media, and welcome to yet another episode. Today, we have somebody very special with us. He's a true pioneer of the crypto industry, and he is known as the founder and creator of Litecoin. Litecoin, as you all know, is a project which has been there since Bitcoin. It was called digital silver to Bitcoin gold narrative. Charlie, as a former tech veteran and an early Coinbase executive, has spent over a decade shaping the blockchain space. I am very much sure we all know about him. You must have heard about him wherever there is a talk or debate about crypto. Today, Charlie is driving Litecoin's next chapter, pushing for institutional adoption with a spot ETF. He's also bringing native smart contracts to the network and bridging crypto with traditional finance as a corporate board advisor for public companies like MEI, Pharma, and BTCS. Charlie, welcome to the podcast, and thanks a lot for joining us. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So, Charlie, of course, we are very interested to know that what is going on in your life, what new projects and exciting things you're working on. But before that, I really wanted to kind of, get something off our chest. So recently, you must have seen there was a debate, which it's a debate, evergreen debate. But recently, somebody at New York Times, claimed that they have found who is Satoshi Nakamoto. So our first question is very much around this debate, which here and there comes again in various formats. Does it really matter who is Satoshi Nakamoto, and will it really matter if, let's say, tomorrow, even if somebody claims that he or she is Satoshi, in the context of Bitcoin and crypto, of course?
In the end, it doesn't matter, but it would be cool to know, right?
Yeah.
It would be cool to kind of talk to him. Obviously, you want to talk to him, chat with him, interview him, ask him about the early days of Bitcoin, how he thought about it, and things like that, right? That would be very interesting to know. But in terms of like the network or anything related to Bitcoin, it doesn't really matter who he is, right? Or if he ever comes out. But for me personally, I think it would just be cool to know and to chat with him.
So is Adam Beck actually Satoshi?
He's a possible candidate.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? He's come out many times saying he's not Satoshi. But he's as good of a candidate as anyone that I know.
What about you, Charlie?
I'm definitely not Satoshi.
All right.
To be honest, I think I'm not. I don't know enough I don't have the background to be able to create Bitcoin back then, right? I don't have the skills and the background in crypto and other things. But Adam Back does, so it's possible.
Wow, that's a big statement from you. I'm sure people are going to pick up you on that. Maybe Adam Back will.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, coming back to Litecoin, we know you have been quite active when it comes to the Wall Street adoption of Litecoin. You are making a lot of new suggestions and recommendations for the network as well. So we are very excited to know, that what is going on at Litecoin and what are some of the things people can expect in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, so something that we've been working on for many years now is privacy and is the privacy layer on Litecoin called MWeb. So we've been working on that for quite some time, and the main reason is money needs to have fungibility. It's where each and every coin is kind of indistinguishable from the other coins, so you can just use it without worrying about which coin you're using. And this is something that requires privacy, right? If the coins are not, if there's no privacy around the coin, then it's very easy to discriminate against specific coins, right? So that's a feature that we're working on, or we've already launched it as MWeb, and it's been going well. And I think it's something that that's really needed for money.
So is it something similar to like ZK rollups, or is it something different than that?
It's similar. I mean, there's various different ways of doing privacy. We've seen ones that are there are trade-offs, right? The ones that are the most private cost more in terms of speed and computational power, and so the way we're approaching it is an optional privacy where people can move funds to MWeb, and we use confidential transactions and also Mimblewimble for that part of it. And it's not perfect privacy, but it's good enough for everyday use, and I think it's a good balance.
I mean, so we have seen a lot of new coins and new tokens also emerging as a main narrative being the privacy. What's motivation for you? I mean, the motivation is to protect the retail investors who may be exposed to a lot of attacks, which we are seeing recently, that Bitcoin wallets, Bitcoin holders are being kind of, they are being kidnapped and being attacked in a lot of locations across the globe. So is the motivation more about protecting the retail, or do you see, is that something which is, let's say, stopping institutional investors to actually adopt crypto? I mean, what's the main motivation behind this?
The main motivation is that for Litecoin, or any coin for that matter, to be truly like the best form of money, it needs to have fungibility and some sort of privacy, right? Where right now, if you're spending Bitcoin, or even Litecoin without MWeb, everything is in open, right? So whoever's receiving that money, or whoever knows you send a transaction, can very effectively figure out how much money you have just by doing some analysis on the blockchain and the transaction. So that's not very good, right? So if I'm getting paid, my salary is getting paid in Litecoin, someone can easily figure out how much I make. And I mean, even if you're not doing anything illegal, you still don't want people to have like total transparent view of your finances. So I think some sort of privacy is very important.
Mm-hmm. So is it like an off and on switch whereby you can choose that which of my transactions should actually be private and which I can still do publicly on chain, which are visible?
Yeah, the way we do with Litecoin is an optional privacy. I mean, some coins have all like full privacy for everything, right? For example, like Monero does. For Litecoin, if you move your coins to M website, then everything has the M web privacy on, and then you can also always move coins out of it. So for example, if some exchanges don't support the M web side of Litecoin, you can always peg your coins back out to normal standard Litecoin addresses before sending it to an exchange.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's again, I mean, for the retail investors who are holding Litecoin, it's just basically keeping Litecoin in a wallet, and you can choose a mode which is more about private or public.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, we try to make it as simple as possible for people who are using it. So that's the most important thing. I think crypto is already hard enough to use, right? So I think having things work seamlessly in the background is key for adoption and success.
So a major thing I have noticed is that one way you can basically anytime make anything private is transactions, of course, through ZK rollups or something like that. And another way is that if today I have, let's say, 10 coins in my wallet, maybe MetaMask or maybe some other wallet, they are still viewable. Anybody can view that how many Litecoins I hold. So is it about a full private narrative there, that whereby I can also kind of save myself by not letting others know that how many Litecoins I actually have in my wallet, and also the transactional part of it?
Yeah, so there's two part of privacy. One is like the amount, right? So for that, we use something called a confidential transaction, which hides the amount from anyone other than the sender and recipient, right? So if I'm sending you 10 Litecoins on the network, you just see a transaction between two points, right? You don't see the actual amount being sent. So that's very important, right? So that kind of protects others from seeing how many coins you're spending on something, and also from figuring out how many total Litecoins you have in your wallet. The second part of privacy is the kind of the routing privacy, where you are preventing others from seeing who's sending money to who. And the Mimble technology does that by combining all the inputs and outputs together into one big kind of block. And the more people that use it, the more kind of hidden you are in the crowd. So that's how that privacy works. So just having more people use it, your transactions will be kind of mixed together with everyone else's transactions.
Yeah, because recently, personally, we run a news network. We have got a lot of tips where people are now even afraid to make transactions, because they think that once I make a transaction with you, my wallet is exposed. You can easily see what coins, how much I actually hold. Yeah, that is right now a very big challenge for at least for the people who are native to crypto. They're trying to find these ways whereby, first of all, they can, while they make transactions with new parties, they can actually make sure that their whole wallet is not visible. So I guess the MWeb technology, solves it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect by any means. It's good enough for just everyday transactions. A lot of people today would use like an exchange to kind of be more private, right? Which is kind of ironic, but they would send money to an exchange, and then from the exchange send money out, and then it would be mixed with everyone else's coins, right? So you don't know how many coins you have. They'll be able to figure out how many coins the exchange has, possibly.
Ironically, I was using an exchange yesterday, and when I was trying to withdraw something from it, it asked me a lot of questions, and they were actually very when I was making withdrawal from a bank. So central exchanges, even in the last 3-4 months, have become quite tedious to use. They're asking you everything: whom are you sending? Where is this going? From which exchange actually have you received these funds? So right now, I guess due to regulatory concerns, centralized exchanges are not the perfect place to store or even make transactions. They're completely exposing all the info with the regulators.
Yeah, and for decentralized coin, you want like your own control of the coins, right? And you also want some sort of privacy so that you're not totally exposed.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a welcome change because personally, I have faced it. I really want to network or at least a facility whereby I'm not exposing my complete portfolio to somebody when I make a transaction to anybody unknown. And centralized exchange is not the right place. Perfect, not the right place to make these transactions. I have personal funds blocked there, so I know that's not the right way.
Yeah, totally.
Coming on to the second part, Charlie, we all have seen in the last 12 months, 16 months, the whole crypto is all about Wall Street adoption. It is more about now ETFs. It is more about ETPs, more about stable coins, treasury bonds. In this particular area, we have seen that you have been playing a very key role when it comes to launching ETF products based out of Litecoin as well. And maybe you can share some more details with our audience who are actually following Litecoin and you.
Yeah, so last year, been working with a company called Light Strategy. We launched a Litecoin treasury company, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they bought $100 million worth of Litecoin and is actively managing that Litecoin to create more, make it more. How do I say it? To kind of manage it so that the amount of Litecoin per share increases over time. Mm-hmm. And I think they're doing a great job with it. And it's kind of like an ETF. It tracks Litecoin prices. But then also, in addition to that, a Litecoin ETF launched, a spot ETF launched last year as well. And so there's various different ways for institutional players to get into Litecoin as an asset class. And I think that's great for Litecoin overall.
So, Charlie, I know you are very close to technology as such. And for you, I am very much sure, just like 30-40% of us in crypto space, that building, creating the tech part of it, blockchain part of it is basically the core passion, which we all kind of know to. And when we see these kind of updates that, okay, Wall Street is adopting crypto is becoming financially more complex as it was earlier, let's say 2-3 years back, it's kind of getting a bit discouraging for the native crypto users who were, I mean, let's say 21 or 22 years of age when they joined crypto actually. And they see this as a very complex, or let's say a somewhat kind of a traditional luggage or baggage, coming on top of the blockchain now. I wanted to know your views. That do you really see this as an advancement, or I would say, getting ahead when it comes to the Wall Street updates that we are seeing, or do you really see the game being played, by the Wall Street now, and retail investors or native crypto guys, they can only look at it? I mean, do you really see it as a progress, the ETFs and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of inevitable, right? When the new asset class becomes big enough that the Wall Street guys and the ETFs would start happening. So we saw that with Bitcoin, and we're seeing that with Litecoin, and like even before Bitcoin, like it happened with gold and other commodities, right? So I think it's inevitable. I think it's good for some people to be able to access or be invested in Litecoin where previously they couldn't be, right? So now they can easily buy a Litecoin ETF on a traditional brokerage account, whereas before they could only get access to Litecoin by buying Litecoin on an exchange, which is not something that any like the average person can easily do, right? So having more access to Litecoin is always a good thing. But of course, there's always it's not like real Litecoin, if like technically, right? So it's a kind of a proxy for Litecoin when you're holding an ETF. But having kind of exposure to that gives people kind of a taste of it, and they can always go back to owning Litecoin themselves if they want to, right? If they learn more about it. So I think getting more exposure is good. But in the end, the goal for Litecoin is for people to actually use it, right? Use it as a currency. So I think that helps with adoption of that in the end. So I'm all for it, but I also want to push people towards actually using Litecoin, like holding onto it in the wallet and actually spending it to buy things.
So you think this is quite bullish, if I can put it in a line?
I do think it's pretty bullish. It's also kind of the next step, right, towards a real world like adoption of the currency.
So I mean, see, in the world of stable coins, so earlier when there were not stable coins, there was always a debate that whether Litecoin or Bitcoin or Ethereum are these store of value, are these actually coins which will tomorrow be used for payments. These two narratives were always compared. Now with stable coins coming in the limelight, there seems to be only one proposition for all the coins or all the cryptocurrencies other than stable coins, that they are store of value inherently. I mean, so what is your opinion there? I mean, are stable coins somewhat leading to, let's say, dilution of value when it comes to cryptocurrencies? Because now we know that when it comes to payments, we will always use a stable coin. We are not going to use a Litecoin or Ethereum. So are stable coins actually healthy when it comes to the adoption of these cryptocurrencies? Or do you see it as actually diluting the total valuation when it comes to cryptocurrencies?
Well, stablecoins only solves one of the two issues with money, right? Which is just payments. The store of value part isn't solved by stablecoins because it's still based off of fiat, which we know is flawed. So what it does do is it makes it easy for people to store their value in Bitcoin and Litecoin and spend it easily, right? So with stable coins, it makes it very easy for anyone to hold their wealth in Bitcoin or Litecoin and then convert it on the fly to USDT or USDC for payments, if that's what the merchant accepts, right? Ideally, the merchant will accept any of the crypto coins and makes it very easy for you to pay with Litecoin. But if they only accept stablecoin, which is fine, then you just convert it on the fly from Litecoin to stablecoin and send it as payments. So I think it's only a good thing for stablecoin adoption for Litecoin, right? I don't see that as competing for Litecoin because stablecoin doesn't solve the most important thing, which is inflation of the fiat, right?
So I mean, we all are seeing right now the treasuries which are particularly being made around cryptocurrencies. Even some companies are investing into Litecoin treasuries as well. Mm-hmm. And somewhat we are now getting to a point where we think that, okay, these treasuries might be used for further use cases. For example, the gold treasuries today are being used to, let's say, launch these national or sovereign currencies. And down the line, if we see 5 years, so I mean, my question is around that, what is the ultimate kind of, value proposition here when it comes to these Wall Street developments? So for example, Litecoin treasuries, Litecoin ETFs, do you see a similar journey like gold there, or do you really see tomorrow something as ambitious as, sovereign currencies or even private currencies, I mean, coming out of these treasuries? So what's the value proposition down the line 5 or 10 years? I mean, when you see the developments today for Litecoin, how Litecoin looks down the line, 5 years or 10 years?
Well, I think the Litecoin, like the treasury model, is to kind of prove that this asset class can be used as a kind of reserve currency for companies, right? Okay. So I think this is like the step. The next step would be you will start seeing countries using Bitcoin, Litecoin, cryptocurrencies as treasuries, right? So companies using it as treasuries is happening right now, and some countries are using Bitcoin as part of their treasury. I think that's going to be the future, right? Where similar to gold, Bitcoin and Litecoin are a good store of value, better than fiat. So it's good for countries to actually hold on to them as reserve currency instead of holding on to like US dollar, for example. So I think that's kind of like the future where we're heading towards.
Yeah. Charlie, there have been some developments on the usability of Litecoin as well. So, for example, you have introduced, I guess, smart contracts on top of the Litecoin network. So, I mean, is it something like layer two? I mean, what's the intention there? What are you trying to build in terms of smart contract capabilities on Litecoin?
Yeah, there are quite a few players doing that. One big player is LitVM, that is building like an Ethereum style smart contract platform on top of Litecoin. I think it's great to see innovation on Litecoin. I fully support it. Yeah, I think it's bringing Litecoin users into the kind of DeFi Web3 space is great. Yeah, I'm very excited about like the progress of LitVM, and obviously there are others that are doing that on top of Litecoin as well.
Got it. Another key debate, Charlie, I mean, of course, is AI. We have seen large VC firms like A16Z coming out and saying that blockchain will be the decentralized layer for AI implementations. Does Litecoin or you have any particular plans for AI as well? What are your views that you also see AI as a key integral part of the crypto journey in the coming days?
We're not doing anything specifically with AI at the Litecoin Foundation. I do see like crypto being a big part of AI, right? Okay. So crypto actually makes AI agents possible, whereas because they can actually use something like Litecoin, they can earn Litecoin and spend it, right? Whereas before crypto, it wasn't possible for AIs to create bank accounts and actually spend money. So I think crypto will play a big part in the future of AI. So excited to see where that goes. But we're not specifically doing anything with AI right now.
So Charlie, I mean, your comment about AI agents, maybe if we can, discuss a bit more about it. So we have seen a lot of networks claiming that they are the decentralized network for AI infrastructure, but we have recently seen some of them actually failing, some of them showcasing dependency in terms of a particular node or a particular company, kind of overpowering every other possible agent on the network. I mean, particularly Tau and other use cases. So from a technical standpoint, do you think it is a feasibility when we see that crypto startups or blockchain startups are now claiming that they can actually take or manage such huge loads, or actually they can keep things decentralized? The same debate which was earlier with Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin decentralized or not? Can these AI networks actually stay decentralized technically?
To be honest, I'm not kind of in the know of what these other coins or companies are doing with AI and decentralization. So don't really have an answer for you.
No worries. Last point of discussion, Charlie, is about, of course, RW and tokenization. The whole news around crypto in the US is all about right now tokenization, treasuries, bonds, equities. And we have seen a lot of traditional exchanges like Robinhood, Revolut, and even Coinbase launching these tokenized equities now. And we are seeing a lot of buzz around it. We are now seeing finally real estate and other forms of real world assets also being tokenized. And I wanted to get your views on it. Do you also see that it is not just hype and there is actually some real use case you see in terms of we trying to tokenize and bringing every asset in the world on chain?
I think it's 99% hype and not useful.
Okay.
I always think that just like how the few years ago everyone's saying like blockchain this, blockchain that, right? It's a lot of it is solution looking for a problem, right? So what's the real benefit of putting real estate on the blockchain, for example, right? Let's take that as an example. Is there like why do we need decentralization for real estate, right? Let's let's say you put like a deed of a house on the blockchain and it's decentralized. And if someone's hacks your wallet and steals that deed, does that mean they own the house? No, right? Because the actual source of truth is not the blockchain, right? The actual source of truth is some government ledger, right? So, or some real world information, right? So if someone stole your deed to your house and comes to your house to try to kick you out, like you just call the cops and they're not going to be able to say this is their house, right? So the source of truth is not the blockchain. If the source of truth is not the blockchain, then what's the point, right? What's the point of spending the cost of putting it on the blockchain, right? So you kind of have to step back and think about what's the point of doing this, right? So some things are, decentralization is very important, right? To be like specific, like Litecoin, it's important for decentralization, right? If I have the private key to the wallet, then I own the coins, right? So you have to protect your private key. If someone stole it, then they have access to the coin and they own it. So the blockchain is a source of truth for crypto, and that's why decentralization is important, because you don't want governments or companies to block you from sending Litecoins to another person, or to say like you can't, right? So that's why cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and Litecoin is so powerful, is because of the decentralized aspect. So kind of you have to ask yourself that, right? So if you're doing tokenization because it's important for things to be decentralized and the blockchain is actually the source of truth, then it's useful, right? So kind of that's how I look at things.
Yeah, I mean, so the logic or the reasoning we are hearing around this adoption is the liquidity part of it. They are claiming that, okay, if an asset is illiquid today, we can put it on chain and it right off becomes accessible globally, and people across the globe can buy and sell it, let's say, in a trustless manner. I mean, where do you stand on this logic?
The liquidity, I mean, it's a claim that is hard to kind of prove, right? Liquidity only comes with there's demand, right? There's people buying and selling. So if the asset is actually there's actually demand for buying and selling, and just people don't have access to it right now, then that's one thing, right? Just putting stuff on the blockchain doesn't automatically create liquidity for it if the item that is not very interesting to other people, right? So it also comes with a cost, right? Putting things on a blockchain, decentralized exchanges are inefficient. It's much easier to trade Apple stock on NASDAQ than it is to trade on a decentralized exchange. So you have to pay like the fees and the extra cost for it doesn't come cheap. So just putting it on a blockchain doesn't really help that much.
Yeah, I mean, so the recent success of even Hyperliquid, because of course, the war and the volatility in the oil market, of course. I mean, we are seeing Hyperliquid is actually one of the best performing currencies right now. I mean, crypto, of course.
Yeah.
And it's a decentralized exchange. And the same is being expected from the equities as well, that when we will put equities on chain and they are available 24/7, even on a Saturday or a Sunday, the same is going to be the performance metrics there. So, I mean, but I guess, I mean, you would also agree that putting stocks on chain versus putting real estate on chain is a very different ball game altogether.
Mm-hmm. Well, stocks, I mean, they trade, it's commoditized, right? There's one share of Apple equals one share of Apple. Real estate is totally different, right? It's very specific to which property you're talking about, right? So you can't just trade real estate like commodities on the blockchain. So if you put real estate on the blockchain, there must be a good reason to do that.
Agree, totally agree there. So Charlie, thanks a lot. One last question from our community that we are taking now. So people are asking us that, what's your most favorite place globally when it comes to meeting good people in crypto? Where have you enjoyed the most your discussions or debates? What's your favorite location globally?
I think, I mean, the favorite location, I mean, one favorite event for me would be the Litecoin Summit. Every year, the Litecoin Foundation hosts the Litecoin Summit at various locations. We were in Vegas for a few years, and then this year we're going to Amsterdam in end of this month, actually. Like 3 weeks. We'll have a Litecoin Summit in Amsterdam this year. I think it's a great place for like-minded people to meet up and talk Litecoin and talk crypto. So those are always my favorite kind of locations to talk about crypto and Litecoin specifically.
So I'm not so sure you know about it, but you are quite followed when it comes to UAE, particularly Southeast Asian countries, India, Vietnam, Indonesia, even in Japan. You are quite popular there. I'm just informing you in case you haven't heard. But in Japan, you have a mad following.
Yeah, we're hoping to do more stuff in Asia, East Asia area. For maybe we'll have a summit there next time. We'll see. Yeah.
Awesome. So we will put these details on the podcast page. If in case anybody wants to join Litecoin Summit in Amsterdam, which is at the end of the month, we will put the details. You guys can directly reach out to Litecoin team through Twitter and other handles. Charlie, thanks a lot. I know you have time limitations, but thanks a lot for doing this for us. And I'm sure the points that you have kind of shared when it comes to privacy, MWeb, and also when it comes to your views, particularly that some of this is hype or not, will really help people to understand and make their decisions in a better way. Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks for having me.